Good morning, everybody. Thank you again for joining me on Morning Moments. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. I really value this opportunity to be able to speak life to you. And so let's get into it this morning. So remember, we've been talking about sowing to the Spirit, sowing to your higher nature. And from your higher nature, your spirit, you are moved in the way of life. When you sow to your lower nature, your flesh, your mind, your will, and your emotions, you will from the lower nature be moved in the way of death. And I wanted to say this off the bat of what we were talking about last time. The more you sow to either or the one or the other, the more you will have the desire that comes from either the lower nature or the higher nature. So if you sow more to the Spirit, you will from the Spirit reap the desire to want to sow more to the Spirit. If you sow more to your lower nature, your flesh, you will from the flesh reap the desire to want to sow more to your lower nature. And ultimately what God is after with you and me is He wants to change our desire. He wants to change our want. So if you're wanting to sow to the flesh, the lower nature, and you don't want to sow to the Spirit, He wants to change that. Because ultimately the things that you want to do are easier to do, right? The things that you don't want to do are harder to do, requires more discipline. And so when you change your condition and you change the condition of your spirit man by sowing more to the Spirit, it's easier, like exercise. It's easier to want to do it because if you're in better condition physically, when you get on the road to run and you're practiced in running and you're fitter and you're stronger, it's easier to run. There's more motivation, there's more momentum. And God ultimately wants to change our want to. He wants us to want to be moved by Spirit life. Glory to Jesus. So let's jump back into Galatians 5 verse 16. But I say, walk and live habitually in the Holy Spirit. So habitually is just all the time. Responsive to and controlled and guided by the Spirit. So what is the Holy Spirit doing inside of you that requires a response? He's speaking to you. The Holy Spirit has got no other way of requiring or asking for a response. It would be if, like me having a discussion with you, there's nothing that I could do really, unless I physically came at you. There's nothing else that I could do really to require a response other than speaking to you. And that's exactly what happens with the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit speaks to us. So how does the Holy Spirit speak to us? Well, He speaks to us through this beautiful book. This is the written will of God. This is the written words of God that the Holy Spirit speaks to you that requires a response. But then we have the messages that come through the messengers by the Holy Spirit. So the Holy Spirit is speaking to you and me through our messengers. So those are the messages, including the written will of God or the written words of God, that He's asking for a response from us, saying, be moved, be responsive. Don't, like if I was having a conversation with you and I was talking to you and I was asking you questions and you just stood in front of me with a blank look on your face, completely unresponsive. I wouldn't hang around for too long. Fortunately, the Holy Spirit is very patient, loving, compassionate, kind, long-suffering. But if you were talking to me and you were unresponsive for long enough, I would walk away, because I would think, oh, well, you're not really interested in having a conversation with me. You're not really interested in me as a person. So I'll talk to somebody who's a little bit more responsive. For those of you who attend regularly on a Sunday morning or a Sunday afternoon, either in Witbank or Johannesburg, this is something for you to think about. Being responsive when Pastor John or Pastor Sharon or Pastor Christy is speaking. Being responsive to the messenger. So those are the ways that the Holy Spirit requires a response. So this is the way the Holy Spirit said it to me, and you can just listen. The Holy Spirit speaks spirit words to your spirit to move your soul and your body. So he speaks to your spirit words to move your mind, to change your mind, to change your will, to change your emotions, to change the way that your flesh responds to this environment, to the way your flesh and your soul responds to the system of Babylon that we're walking through every single day. And so my time is up. We'll get more into being responsive to the words of the Holy Spirit in the next session. Thank you for joining me.